Hey guys, Steven Martinez with The American Dream. I just want to say a big thanks to all our supporters and fans. It's because of you guys that we're able to keep growing. Having said that, please don't forget to follow and subscribe. It means a lot to us. That's what helps us keep growing. And also, I hope you guys enjoy the next episode. What's up guys? Welcome back to The American Dream podcast. I'm here with a very special guest, my boy Maddin, serial entrepreneur.
You said it right, man.
Recently published author. The book is Negrow.
Negrow.
Dude, how did that come about? I guess tell me, well, before we get to the book, thanks for coming, bro.
I appreciate you, man.
And thanks for waiting. That was you waited.
It was a crazy wait, but it's cool, it's worth it.
But out of my control. But aside from that, talk to me about you, man. Like, as an entrepreneur, I know you're successful. I know you're doing a lot of cool stuff. Congrats on the book, by the way. It's a big accomplishment.
Appreciate it.
But what's your story? What's your childhood? Like, what made you become the man that you are today?
Yeah, so originally I'm from Detroit. Growing up, I didn't know what I was gonna do. Eventually I got into basketball, so at some point in my life I thought I was going to the NBA, but life didn't pan out that way, and I ended up becoming an entrepreneur. I've always been an entrepreneur since I've been an adult. I never had a job before, so I've always just been an entrepreneur.
And then so as a kid, like that journey, like how was it? I know we had Wayne, he's one of your colleagues or partners, right, for business? Yeah,
it's my best friend.
So his upbringing was a little different. How was your upbringing when you were a kid? Was it rough? Was it tough?
Yeah, it was rough because I grew up in Detroit. So, I mean, everybody, when you say Detroit, they just automatically just associate rough with Detroit. But we made the best out of it. I'm not gonna say I was, had a super rough upbringing, but, just the environments that we were in were rough. But ultimately, we made the best of it. We didn't get involved in the wrong things. We just kind of just made the best of it. And eventually, I moved to Florida, and that's when my mindset just shifted, because I was able to see like a different aspect of life. So that's when I kind of became the person I am today in Florida.
What was the first, I guess, business venture that you did?
I did a clothing line. Okay. Actually, we take it back further than that. Like,
take it way back.
Yeah. So in school, like, I would sell CDs, cut grass. I would do whatever I had to do. So without realizing, I was already an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So, I sold Kool-Aid bags, like anything I could sell. I sold magnet earrings, like whatever I could sell, I was just selling it. And then, that was able to translate over into, my adulthood and actually selling clothes and selling whatever else I'm selling, hats. But yeah, to answer your original question, my first brand was a clothing line called TGIF, which meant TGI Fresh. And we were sold in stores all over the world. Like, it was crazy, man. It was kind of like an overnight thing too. Like, with that being my first clothing line, like, I didn't know what to expect. But yeah, it just turned out for the better, man.
How's that industry, by the way, clothing industry?
Yeah, clothing, I guess you can say it's a lot of competition in a way, because everybody want to, kind of start a clothing line at some point in their life. But I never really had any issues, man. Like, I started maybe about 4 different brands, and 3 of the 4 was with Wayne. So, we had a lot of success in the clothing industry.
So what was your, I guess, position within the partnership with what you guys were doing? Was he more in the sales side, where you're doing the back end stuff, or how was that?
It was the opposite, actually. He did the back end work. I did everything on the forefront. So all the marketing, just all the branding, the product placement, all of that kind of stuff I did. But he's more of a logistics guy. So we kind of, when it came to working together, like, we worked really well together, because he was able to play his role. I was able to play my role. We didn't have to worry about crashing into each other, getting into it. It was never any clashes. Like, everything flowed smooth with him. So it was good. After the first brand, we started another one, and then next thing you know, we was in Forbes. So
how'd you guys get into that?
Man, Forbes was hounding us, man. Like,
they reached out to y'all?
Yeah, they reached out to us. So we started a brand called Retired Drug Dealer.
Retired Drug Dealer?
Yeah. So we had hats. It was like the veteran style hats, and when we first released it, like, we got a lot of backlash on it, and like, eventually people started to accept it. So we had a couple orders here and there, but for the most part, we had a lot of backlash until Jay-Z wore it, right? So once Jay-Z wore it, and he's known as like that retired drug dealer, like, everything just went crazy. We ended up on TMZ, we ended up on E! News, all the radio stations, the top radio stations in the country covered it. It was a lot, man.
How'd you get someone as influential as Jay-Z to wear your brand?
So Jay-Z has a guy, at the time I didn't know this. So to be honest, just to be strictly honest, so when we first started, we had a list of people that we wanted to wear it. So we had Jay-Z, We had Rick Ross, Meek Mill. We had everybody in the industry that we wanted to wear it, but we didn't know how we was going to do it, right?
Yeah.
So I photoshopped a picture of Jay-Z wearing the hat. So people was believing it. So one day somebody tagged me in a picture. I'm like, man, this Photoshop is good. Like this is smooth. And eventually more people start posting that picture. And I'm like, hold on, this real. And then all the different outlets picked it up, and it just from there, like we didn't know how he got it. So to answer your question, Jay-Z has a guy that's next to him named Emory Jones. So we found out later on that he's the one who ordered it for him and gave it to him. So it was just like the perfect alley-oop for us.
But he was cool with it. He was like, I mean, I know you Photoshopped me, but I respect the hustle.
I don't even think he knew that it was a Photoshop going out. Like I think Emory just saw the hat and was like, let me get this for my guy. And he just happened to wear it at the perfect time.
Damn.
Yeah, so everything just kind of took off from there. But that was like maybe our third company that we started together. But I don't know if you want to get into all of that stuff.
No, okay, so moving forward, so you grew up with Wayne, correct? Y'all both grew up together?
I met Wayne about close to 10 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
But he grew up in...
He grew up in LA. I met him in Vegas though. So I knew a lot of friends that Wayne already had because remember I told you I had a clothing line, right? Wayne had a clothing line at the time. I don't know if you remember, he mentioned a clothing line named Famous Nobodies. So he was like studying the industry as well, but my brand was popping at the time. So he knew who I was. So when I met him, he was already familiar with who I was. So it was like more of a kind of like an instant click because it wasn't like I had to meet him, but he didn't necessarily have to meet me, if that makes sense. Like he felt like he already knew me. So the connection was semi there.
And that collaboration was kind of where like, all right, you're good at this, I'm good at that. Let's see and partner up and see what we can do.
So what happened was I originally told him, because like I said, he had a brand, and he was just asking for pointers, so I would help him. And I would tell him, I'm like, why are you putting so much money into your brand? He like, bro, I just need promo pieces and stuff like that. I'm like, dude, you spending too much of your hard-earned money on this, and it's making it more of a risk, right? So I'm more of like the pre-order. I like doing pre-order. So I would make a product, take a bunch of pictures in that product, put it online, sprinkle it around, just make it seem like it's bigger than what it is. And then people just start to buy into it. So as people ordering it, now I'm using their money to actually get the product versus risking my own money. So once I told him that, he started doing it, and we just started like getting closer and closer. And then we started our own brand together.
How would you market that? It's like a movie. Like when you watch a shitty trailer, you're like, oh man, this trailer looks really good. And then you watch the movie and the movie's horrible. You're like, oh, the trailer sold me.
Right.
How do you, I guess, kind of pre-sell that to back it up?
It's all about perception. So people buy into the perception of whatever it is. So if you make something seem as if it's bigger than it is, people want to know like, okay, what is this about? Just off the perception of it. So even with a brand, like if you take, for example, if I had one hoodie and I take that hoodie and put it on 5 different people, it now look like 5 different people wearing my one, my brand, but it's also be one product.
Or Photoshop Jay-Z.
Yeah, or Photoshop Jay-Z, so it works though. It's just all about perception. People want to be involved with what Jay-Z is wearing. So that's why everybody else wanted to wear it, because now it's cool. But remember at first, nobody wanted to support it. But now it's the most wanted hat. We sold in stores all over the country. It just was, it's just all about the perception.
And then moving forward from the clothing brand, what other ventures were you doing?
Yeah, so we did technology after that. Actually, we did tech before that. Was it before that? It was before that. So we had a company named Skywalkers. I'm not sure if Wayne spoke about that, but we had a technology company named Skywalkers where we were selling the hoverboards. So that's where we got a bulk of our money to initially invest in other things. So that was a blessing.
Now let me ask you a question. It seems like when it comes to the business side of it, Wayne's more of the risk taker, and in essence, when it comes to the money, he kind of just goes all in. But you're like a little bit more, hey man, I think we should play our cards this way or this way.
It's the other way around.
The other way around.
Yeah. So even when we started the tech company, they were like, nah, man, we not ready, and I'm like, nah, we ready. Like pull the trigger. Like what we waiting on? So. Yeah. I'm more of the risk taker when it comes to that, man. We might as well do it now. If it don't work, I'd rather find out it's not gonna work now than finding out, 5-10 months down the line that it's not gonna work. Let's just get it over with.
But you're fine with losing your money though.
I'm fine with it, because it's a risk. Like we take risk every day, so I'm willing to take that risk as success than just sitting around. Your odds of being successful sitting around is 0. So I'd rather take that risk, 50-50 shot. Let's do it.
Where do you get that risk from?
Over the years, man, it's just like, you know.
Was it something that was embedded as a kid, like your mom, your dad, someone that was like, man, like you have to go all in with what you're doing, or was it life?
It's really just my faith in God. Like I always know that He got me. No matter what it is I'm involved with, I know He gonna just find a way for it to work. All of our success stories is just unexplainable. The only way you can explain it is God. Like, how did Jay-Z get the hat? Out of all of these hats in the world, Yankee fitteds, Detroit hat, out of all of these hats, how did he see a retired drug dealer hat? So, and that's with Skywalkers as well. Like we had Justin Bieber, Chris Brown, everybody wearing. We on the Breakfast Club. We had West Coast Customs sitting at round tables with the owners. Like everything just came easy, man.
So then moving forward from there, the book. Why'd you write a book?
Honestly, I didn't know I was gonna write a book. So initially, like with me, like for example, once I leave here, I'm a journal in my phone, just in my notes. I'm gonna just write my experience here, just my thoughts, whatever I come up with throughout this interview. That may stick with me. I'm gonna write it down. That's kind of how it was. So this book is just basically years worth of my thoughts that I put in my notes, and eventually I didn't know a purpose for it. It was for myself at first, and eventually I just ended up putting it into a book. Like that was just it just randomly clicked in my head one day. And
why the title? Very unique title.
Yeah, another thing that's unexplainable. Like, this is something that I didn't do research on it to see if anybody else was doing it initially, but I never heard it before. Like, we all know the word, right?
Yeah.
But to just add something as simple as a W to the end and just change the meaning all around, to me, it just made sense. Because I'm all about growth. Like, on social media, that's all I post about. Like, you got people that post twerking videos and fights and stuff like that, but most of my posts is just all about growth. I put out what I've always wanted to get in, or what I wish I would have gotten in growing up. So that's what I put a lot of emphasis on nowadays.
So with that being said, is your concept to kind of help the community out, the minority community with the book as well? Is it more
for sure.
Is it a blueprint, an autobiography? What is it exactly?
It's not necessarily a blueprint, because I don't believe that it's a blueprint to success, a blueprint to anything. So I don't want to sell that aspect of things. I just want to sell just growth overall, whether that's internally, externally, because I feel like a lot of people lack that aspect of life. They lack the pouring into yourself aspect of things. So I just want to put a book, I just have a book that's just full of that kind of information. How to pray, just how to ignore distractions that that may veer you off your path. Just other little things like that. It's just full of those different things. What helped me, and I feel like it'll help others that read it.
I like the vision behind the book, because, and in essence, what I created was specifically for the Latino community too.
Yeah.
Did I tell you the story how I met my mentor?
No, you didn't.
I met him at a bar.
Oh, okay.
So kind of like the whole story of you saying how God works in mysterious ways. I agree 100% with that.
Yeah.
And it was one of those where I could have just taken instead of looking left, I look right. I could have seen an opportunity and maybe just think it's too good to be true. But it was real, and then I used that knowledge and experience to gravitate and create something to help others. And that's what I kind of see with you, with what you're doing. What's the vision to, I guess, moving forward in the next 5-10 years? What do you want to do?
Well, right now, honestly, I don't think that far out, because when we have those kind of expectations, they can lead to disappointment. There's a lot of people. For example, you may have people say, I want to have a kid by this age, I want to be married by this age, but when they get that age and they're not married or they don't have a kid, they start to beat themselves up. So I don't want to put too much of an expectation, so I kind of just go with the flow of life. Like I said, I didn't know I was going to write a book. I didn't even know I was going to move to Vegas, meet Wayne, start a tech company. Everything just flows. So I just kind of just shift with the seasons. That's how I ended up out here. I went to Vegas. This is how I moved to Vegas. I went out there for a fight, and I just never went back home. And the same out here. I came out here for a funeral, and I ended up looking at houses and bought a house the same trip. And I just came out here and just wherever Houston take me, that's where I'm going. So
are you staying here, or are you gonna?
As of now, I think this might be my last stop. That's just what I feel in my spirit. But
you said you were leaving though, Ro, on Thursday.
Okay. I thought you were saying just moving, or you staying.
Well,
just
that's
living
what I thought
here?
you meant.
Oh no. I'm not. I'm not. I travel a lot, so
Okay.
I'm not gonna leave Houston.
So what's the next business venture? What ideas do you have kind of upcoming?
Okay, so I'm releasing another book titled Healed. So it's the same with the parentheses as well. But I feel like everybody needs to heal. We all have some kind of childhood traumas. different things internally that we don't really necessarily know that we're dealing with. So I wanted to write something else that actually touched on those things. We also have an Airbnb startup company that we're building. And I also have a credit repair company, so we're doing that as well. So we're working on a few things.
What's the most profitable company that you've done so far?
Credit repair.
Credit repair?
Yeah.
On the business side of it, I guess explain the operations and when it comes to that, to run a company like that.
It's really just knowledge. So credit repair, it's just, you have to learn a lot of the laws. So this what's called consumer laws. I really just studied consumer laws for about a year straight, and that allowed me to really like understand how the system worked. And once I understood that, man, I just tried to help everybody around me, just really just put different people on and just offer that service to other people. Because believe it or not, most of the average person walking around needs some kind of credit repair. I'm sure half of the people in this room need some kind of credit repair. So once I understood that was like it was a demand for that, like I really locked in and kind of just kept growing within the industry.
So I'm just trying to, I guess, understand your brain too a little bit, because it's interesting because there's so many random businesses, bro. You're doing clothing from a hoverboard to credit repair.
Right. It is.
But my question, and I think you know what I'm going to ask, is like in terms of like concepts and foundations and principles, right? I think business comes down to a science, and it's all the same relatively. Do you apply the same stuff whenever you know the clothing brand, or the way you market the clothing brand compared to the hoverboard brand? Are you doing it the same way for the credit repair company?
It's essentially the same. It's really, I use more of a lifestyle approach. So I already had a lifestyle, and I understand that people buy into lifestyle. It goes back to perception, like I said. So I basically kind of showcase my lifestyle attached to whatever the business is. So for example, at some point I was doing Amazon FBA, but my lifestyle already added up to a successful Amazon seller, right? So now I'm able to get other clients to buy into the concept and everything like that. And as I'm growing, everybody else is growing around me. So now it just allows me to build that aspect of the business even more. So I wouldn't say that I take the identical approach to every business, but overall it's pretty much the same.
Same principle.
Yeah, same principle.
How important, and this is a good topic too, because a lot of people ask me like, yo, Steven, how are you so successful, this and that? And it comes down to the basis, right? And the basis is marketing and content and perception marketing. I 100% agree.
Yeah.
How important is that in terms of perception? Like explain for someone that's 18, 19 and they want to build a business. They're like, Al, like, you know, how do I do it? Where do I start?
First, you know, I get asked this question a lot, but first I would study the market, because not all ideas is a good idea. So, you know, you might dump a lot of money into something that it may not be a demand for. So I tell people to kind of study the market just so they're not wasting any kind of time or wasting money, and see what else is out there. So for example, with me, if I'm gonna sell water, I'm gonna look at all the other water companies. Okay, how are they marketing their product? Where are they lacking? Because wherever they're lacking, I'm gonna try to find a way to, you know, to provide where it is that they're lacking and find the people that need what they're lacking. So that's an approach that you can take. It's a bunch of different approaches, but ultimately I'll make sure I study the market first.
Okay, so take me through it. Let's say I have a product or service. I understand my audience. I understand how to provide that scarcity, that demand. What's next?
Website.
Okay.
So once you start the website, you just really just find out the people that's looking for what you offering. Whether that's Facebook ads, Instagram ads, however you can, Google ads, whatever it is that you can do, you can just take a small amount of money, invest that into ads, and just find the exact audience for, you know, what it is that you put.
Are there specific ads for specific platforms that reach a specific audience? Like if I want to hit, let's say my target audience is people that are 30 to 40.
Yeah.
Where should I go?
Perfect. So Instagram and Facebook. So Instagram actually allows you to break it down exactly what you said. So for example, with me, with credit repair, I'm able to find people who looking to pre-qualify for a house. I do my research as far as, okay, what age group has the worst credit? And I narrow it all the way down. Is it men that have worse credit than women?
Who does? Men or women?
It's pretty even.
Oh,
so yeah. So but it is a certain age bracket for that. But every business has, you know, it has a perfect audience. So I actually just go to Google and just study it. It's actually something called Google Trends. You can go to Google Trends, type in exactly what it is that you want, and it'll tell you how many people searching that and what city that they're in. You can break it all the way down to, you know, all the way down and just really figure it out. And now you translate whatever Google tells you over to Instagram and Facebook ads, and now you got the perfect audience.
So I got the website, I got the platforms, I got the advertisement, I know exactly who to hit. Now how do I create the perfect content for that?
Perfect content. So I always focus on quality. So me, I like to invest in like the best cameras, the best of everything when it comes to capturing content, because I understand how important it is. So just make sure that you following the footsteps of who you want to be. Like for example, for Nike, if you got a fitness brand, I would make sure I study, okay, they're capturing people running in this angle, or they're capturing people playing basketball in this way, and really just capture those things and study the industry itself. And from there, it should work. If it's working for everybody else, there's no reason for you to try to reinvent the wheel and try to, start whatever it is that you want to start. Just go with what's working.
I have a question to ask you. I guess it's a rhetorical question because I know the answer, but I want other viewers to really understand the answer to it too. The phone. The phone is the most powerful piece of technology that's been created thus far, right? Especially from a business perspective. And either you're a consumer, right, or you're on the other side. Right. How, to someone that's young, maybe they're playing video games, or they're not really utilizing or monetizing what's in front of them, how would you describe how to use this part of technology to really make money?
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing is,
because you're good at marketing. I follow you. Like, you're good. You know exactly how to hit the clients.
Right. How would I use this? How would I use the phone to?
Like, how are you using it? How are you monetizing it?
Yeah, honestly, I'm just showing the results that I'm getting, man. Like, I don't like to over market. Like, my marketing, I don't want it to be, buy this. I want to just show you what it is, so you can be like, okay, what's that? Well, where can I want you to be more interested in it than anything else. You get what I'm saying? So I'm able to just show whatever it is that I'm involved with, and it's basically attach it to the lifestyle that I already have. I don't know if that answers your question, but I don't like to actually do actual marketing. Some people like to run promos all day, but it burn out the audience. So you got to find ways to just kind of incorporate it into your lifestyle and just kind of go from there.
So you do it more organically then?
Yeah, or super organic, yeah.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
So then moving forward with you said the new book's called?
Healed.
Yeah,
Healed.
And is that one kind of like a part 2, or is that the same thing?
No, it's not a part 2. Same kind of concept, same kind of approach, but it's ultimately a different topic. Because like I said, we all need to heal, so I made sure I just put a lot of emphasis on different ways to heal, what I used, what I've heard other people, what worked for other people, just me studying overall what works. Because I said we all need to heal. We might feel like we're good, but once you start to notice like certain things may trigger you, you might not understand why it triggers you until you dig deeper and find out why. So when you start digging deeper and just, going and really invested in your journey of healing, then you can actually be the full version of yourself.
Why do you think that's so important?
Because a lot of us, we're going around cutting people that didn't really do anything to us. Like, it's people that's going and hurting people that technically didn't deserve that. So, and the person that's hurting them don't even realize why. Like, it might be something that happened when they was 7 years old, and they don't realize why they, dealing with these kind of things. It could be from abandonment issues or, being molested as a kid. It's a lot of things that trigger our actions as adults, and we don't really realize it.
Do you think, you and I speaking as minorities, you think that's something that is kind of embedded in our culture a little bit?
As far as well?
Just kind of being enclosed and, thinking that no one really has, you for your good, right? They want to hurt you all the time, all that.
Yeah, that's definitely embedded. I believe, when we're born with a clean slate. Everything that's within us is put in us at some point of our life. Whether that's us cussing a lot, we heard it growing up. So, we doing what we see. Just a lot of our behaviors overall, aggression, that kind of stuff is planted in us without us really realizing it. So yeah, to answer your question, yes, it's definitely embedded in it.
So if someone's, because I love the whole concept of it too, because I think it's overshadowed, and a part where people don't talk about it, right? Mental health, emotional health.
Yeah.
And I think those are key elements, because when you're successful and you have a business, it's a reflection of who you are, right? If you're a good person, you'll be better. If you're bad, you'll be worse. For someone that's young, maybe they're going through it a little bit. It could be family, interpersonal, who knows? What's the first step in healing?
First step is, I honestly would say just communicating with somebody. Growing up, I feel like we were taught to keep everything bottled up.
Yeah.
And then eventually it just leads to an explosion. Whether that's us exploding on our friends, our family, our significant other, whoever it is, we end up exploding on somebody without really realizing that we just got years worth of stuff bottled up. Honestly, I forgot your original question. But
No, you're answering it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
so, I guess having said that, the moment you communicate and vent it out, and you're dealing with someone, or you're dealing with something. Sorry. The process of it itself, would you say it's something easy or hard to get over?
It really depends on how deep the issue is. If it's something that you've been dealing with for the past 20 years of your life, don't expect it to be an easy journey because you got to dig up a deep root. Issues are kind of like trees. Over time, the roots just go deeper and deeper. So you really got to dig up those roots to really not really get rid of the issue, but more so learn how to deal with the issue. For example, you're not going to get rid of issues in your life, rather that's things that once triggered you or trigger you, and you're not going to fully get rid of that aspect, but now you know how to handle that. You don't allow it to trigger you. You learn how to maneuver around it. Certain things that once bothered me, it may initially bother me, but I had to remind myself that, nah, you're not that person no more, and it just flows off.
What's something that would bother you at first that doesn't bother you now?
Honestly, I used to hold grudges. Like I was like a big grudge holder.
Over what?
Just anything.
Anything?
Man. Like somebody do something, it could be something small. Somebody do something small, and I'm like
show up late.
Hey, maybe like 6 years ago, that probably I'm never talking to them again.
Yeah.
But that's only hurting myself because you didn't intentionally do it. So once I started reminding myself of, the other side of it, and kind of factoring those things, and it was easier for me to kind of, give grace to certain people that I was once dealing with.
I agree. It's funny that we're having this conversation because I had this same conversation with Kaiser yesterday, and we're talking about our demons, and how, some, I guess what separates the boys from the men is the people that confront their demons.
Yeah.
Right? And at one point of my life, I was dancing with the devil, brother. And then I met God again, to be honest. But it was very awakening.
Yeah.
But I 100% agree with what you're saying and everything, because not only does it help you mentally, interpersonally, or your business, but also with your family, with your relationship. And I guess it's more of a question that I have for you. So in the process of healing and overcoming all these problems, right? Because no one's perfect. When
if you're perfect, I'm scared of you.
Yeah.
I don't want to be around.
There's only one person that's perfect, right?
Yeah,
It's God.
Exactly.
I guess how do we battle? How do we move forward with life, knowing that we're gonna fall again? I guess is my question. Because I could be like, oh man, I'm gonna slip and fall again. What's the point?
Yeah.
But like, how do you keep moving and just becoming that best version of yourself?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, God knows that we're gonna make mistakes. He give us free will. We have the opportunity to do whatever it is that we ultimately want to do. So you got to really give yourself grace. The same way you give other people grace, you got to give yourself grace too. Don't beat yourself up. Don't be too hard on yourself. Just learn. You're gonna make mistakes. It's like riding a bike. It's not you're gonna jump on the bike and just automatically. Eventually you're gonna fall. You're gonna have to eventually learn how to, keep going. So you just got to give yourself grace and understand that you're definitely gonna make those mistakes, and just find other ways to learn from whatever mistakes that it is that you make.
Not commit them again. I agree. What's in your opinion, I guess, what's the, I mean, it seems like you're on the right track clearly with what you're doing, but in your opinion, what's kind of like the overall scheme? What's the purpose of life? Why do you think we're here?
Yeah, I think everybody have a different purpose. I actually speak on this topic quite a bit because I run into people that don't believe that we all have a purpose, but I do believe that we have a purpose. But I feel like our purpose is all different. It's unique. So your purpose here could be to inform other people of different things, starting a podcast, helping other people start business. I believe one of my purposes is to pour into people because I do it so naturally. Like everybody come to me for some kind of guidance or inspiration, no matter if they older than me. My parents even come to me for guidance. So me understanding that I'm able to align myself with my purpose versus just letting it go to waste. Everything all the doors that's been opening to me has been attached to what I believe my purpose is. So I hope that answered your question.
Yeah. And so what if I'm like, I get it, but I don't know what my purpose is yet.
Yeah. So I ask people, one, you got to consult with God. Ask him, like, what is my purpose? Reveal my purpose here, right? And you also got to look at what you're actually good at. A lot of us we're born. Well, I believe we all born with a naturally born gift, right? So whether that's singing, playing basketball, some people are able to do things without even understanding how or why, right? But I believe if you align yourself with what it is that you're natural with, if that's basketball, you need to stick with it. You may not be meant to be an NBA player, the next LeBron James, but you may be meant to be a basketball coach, somebody that's teaching others how to do it because you naturally blessed with the ability to, you know, be good in basketball, really understand the sport. And that's just to name one thing. This aspect, you know, basically lines up with anything in life. That's what I believe.
And the whole relationship with God, is that something you had as a kid, like from the beginning, or were you disconnected at first and then got reconnected? Or?
Yeah. So growing up, we definitely went to church. But, you know, as kids, you kind of just in church. You're not really understanding what's going on. So the connection was initiated. But as we get older, we kind of grow apart. You know, we have free will, so we're able to kind of just go along with life and just figure it out. And that's how you end up in those, you know, those dark spaces in our life. And, you know, you start entertaining stuff that you may not have once knew that you were going to entertain, but that's, you know, God understand that. That's life. And eventually, with me, to answer your question, you know, in my early days, I definitely ventured off. You know, I had my fun. I did whatever I was doing. And, you know, within the past, at some point within the past 3 years, I really like locked in with church. And I feel like I unlocked a different side of myself. Like this person that's just wake up happy, just I'm able to just pour into people so natural. Like, you know, I just feel like once I started locking into the church, that's when this side of myself really unlocked.
How did you get that wake up call? Was it like, or was it just something that gradually built, or was it more like, yo, like I need to go to church? Or
well, I go to a church named Lighthouse, right? So I'm not sure if you ever heard of that church, but basically I went there and the doors were so open for me. Like I knew that this is where I was supposed to have been, right? So I went to that church, and so I went on a Sunday. Let's just say that Tuesday I ran into my pastor at a food truck. So I'm like, okay, we reconnected like outside of the church, and we able to chop it back up. So the following week they prophesied over me, and they was like, they basically broke down my life. Like they was like, you're an entrepreneur. Like they didn't know nothing about me. So when they broke that down, I said, dude, it's a connection on a different level in this church. And I just locked in. Like I started watching sermons and just really reading the Bible and just really locking into the word, man. I think that's just how I ended up here.
I can see you being a preacher, by the way.
Man, I hear that so many times.
Yeah, I can see it, man. You got the swag, the charisma.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
And like what's that one guy, the white guy? He's young, he's got swag too, man. He dresses dope.
He's a pastor?
Or a preacher, I think.
I'm not sure. He's from here?
I think he's from here, yeah.
I know you're not talking about Joel Osteen.
No, I'm not talking about Joel Osteen.
No,
I'm not talking about him.
Know who it is.
The other one, you know who I like too?
Who?
Oh, I actually learned this. I do this too. It's just actually really weird, but it's called NLSP. Neuro-linguistic systematic programming. So when you're asleep, you go through a subconscious state, right? And I actually listen to Bishop T.D. Jakes.
Yeah, you got that right.
It's crazy.
Oh, you go to sleep listening to him?
Yeah, it works.
It's weird that you say that. Well, it's not weird, but it's crazy that you say that. But a lot of times when I go to sleep with my phone under my pillow playing like gospel music or just playing like different sermons. So I just felt like that's just like you just said, reprogramming yourself, and you hearing this, you taking this in all throughout the night. And I put that on Instagram. Actually, I asked anybody like, do they do that as well? And people was like looking at me like I was crazy. I'm like, dude, I feel a difference when I do this.
That's what it takes, though. Well, if you're going through a trauma, right, or you're gonna get hypnotized, or you go to a therapist to stop smoking or something, they technically put you in a subconscious level of sleep, and they just reprogram your brain.
Oh yeah, I never do that.
Yeah.
That's good to know. I never knew that.
So you could do the same thing. I mean, I'm not saying that could be an example, but whenever I do certain, not all the time though, like here and there, I'll play something to get really like wake me up, make me feel like a beast. It works.
Yeah, nah, for sure, it definitely works.
I don't even know why I thought about that just now.
Yeah.
We're talking about the
nah, for sure. I'm glad that you brought that up because I thought I was weird at some point because you're the first person I heard that actually does that as well. Yeah. Anybody watching this, I feel like you should try that as well. Just let us know if it worked for you.
So I guess, where do you see yourself? I know you said you don't like to think 5-10 years out, but is there eventually like a point in your life where you're like, I would like to be a preacher. I'd like to help out the community or younger kids or.
Yeah, no, for sure. I want to actually get more into mentoring, but I'm also pivoting into public speaking. So most authors, I'm not sure if you noticed, they actually, they really make a bulk of their money, and it really elevates them once they get into public speaking. You make money off books, but it's not much. A lot of people don't read.
$2 per book.
Exactly. So it's really public speaking. So I wanna influence the masses. Like I wanna be on the stages and influence the masses. So that's my main goal right now, and I'm kind of just trying to align myself into that.
What do you think is because I've had some people that are interested in public speaking. What do you think is the formula for that? What do you have to do to get on that?
I think you just got to put yourself out there. Like, for example, like with this podcast, other people that have podcasts are going to reach out to me like, I want you to speak on mine. So it's really just a chain reaction. So once I get more into public speaking, which I've already done, other people want me to come to their school and speak, or come to this jail and speak, and eventually it's just going to grow like anything else.
So that's from I guess personal standpoint, right? With your public speaking, helping out kids and stuff. And now from a business perspective, is there anything that you want to do in the next year or two?
Yeah, I want to get into real estate. I've been talking to my brother. He's already into real estate. I want to get into more so franchises. So he's been telling me a lot about getting into the different franchises.
Like for restaurants?
Yeah, for restaurants.
Okay.
So he's been telling me about Chipotle. So if we eating at a Chipotle, he'll look at, how much you got to have in liquid to get into this. So, you know, when it comes to that type of thinking, he's on that level. And I want to, you know, work a little deeper with him and kind of get more into that.
What do you think is a good, I guess, franchise to start off in the restaurant business? Chipotle is going up and down, man, with all those videos of the portion sizes.
Yeah. I think, I wish it was easier to get into Chick-fil-A, but I really don't. Like, they got to give you a Chick-fil-A. But I know Chick-fil-A is like one of the most profitable. Starbucks always does good, so I'm not sure exactly like what the requirements are for a Starbucks, but that's something I'm definitely into, you know, getting into as well.
Well, you would apply it at a specific like market or city, like where there is no Chick-fil-A or Starbucks.
Yeah, well, you can't really apply for a Chick-fil-A. Like you actually, one, have to be a Christian, and two, they have to actually like basically nominate you to get it. I know somebody who got a free Chick-fil-A, by the way. Like he was a manager at a Chick-fil-A, and they just say, hey, we want to give you on Chick-fil-A, and it's fully his now. Yeah, he didn't have to put nothing down.
How much does Chick-fil-A make a month, like on average?
I don't know. I wish I knew, but
your brother probably knows, huh?
Exactly, he probably know.
And you have to make a certain amount of revenue, right? Oh, your brother's here.
Yeah.
How much does Chick-fil-A make a month? What's like the average, like 6 figures?
Oh, wait, more than that.
Profit, right? That's crazy.
Yeah. No, Chick-fil-A, I think Chick-fil-A is at the top when it comes to like the fast food places. And what's crazy, they actually close one day of the week. So for them to still be so high up on the list while losing a day of the week lets you know a lot. And then for some reason, it seemed like I crave Chick-fil-A a little more on Sundays. I don't know if that's just me or...
Well, one time I pulled up to Chick-fil-A on a Sunday.
Right.
And I was like, where's everyone? I was like, it's a Sunday.
It's Sunday, yeah.
I remember, this is totally random, but you know In-N-Out, right?
Yeah.
So obviously it was Vegas, LA, the whole western side. And I thought to myself, man, I was maybe like people tell me, Steven, what's the biggest regret you've had your whole life? I'm like, I didn't buy real estate in the first grade when the whole recession that happened, right? And I was like, man, it'd be a great idea to have In-N-Out in Houston.
They got what, 3 of them now?
They got 3 of them now, and they're booming.
Yeah, man. In-N-Out is like bulletproof, man.
I feel like that'd be a good business. I'd be interested to see, I guess, the dynamics of it, because essentially you put in the capital from the franchise, and then the own corporate company comes in, they train them, recruit them, and they pretty much give you everything. Is that how it works?
So basically, a lot of times, like they just want to make sure you got the liquid. Like they might just check your account, make sure you got 100,000 liquid. And sometimes they come in, I think they fund, I may be wrong, but I think they might fund a portion of whatever the upfront operations are. But yeah, I mean, you can't really go wrong with a company like In-N-Out. And why they do so good is the menu is slim. Like,
it's to the point.
Yeah, it's like get straight to the point. Like it's actually harder to sell something when there's so many options. Like if I come up to you with 10 different shirts and all 10 different colors, you're gonna be like, damn, do I want the pink one or yellow? But if I'm like, here go a white one, you're like, all right, cool. And it's the same with In-N-Out. Like you just get these same.
Why do you think that is? That's a good point. I didn't think about that.
People don't really like to use their brain, man. Like if you look, I put a video out about this recently. If you pay attention to traffic, right? If you just sit in traffic, you might actually, dude, why are we sitting here? But it's just because the person in front of this person is just sitting in front of it. It's just a line of people that are just thinking the same way, right? And if you look, you might notice that a lane is open on the side. Once you go out and go to that lane, you're gonna look in your rear view and see other people doing the same thing. People don't think for themselves, man.
Yeah.
So when you give people what to pick from, they pick from it because they don't have to use their brain. It's just an easy option.
That's true.
So I use that same approach when it comes to business as well. Like I would, like some people, they'll start a clothing line and they come out with 5 to different things. Dude, just put 2 or 3 different items up and just offer multiple sizes and just let people pick from that.
What's a good, I guess if you want to do a clothing brand, what's the best thing to start with? Should you do a hat? Should you do a shirt? A hoodie?
I would say shirts. Everybody wears shirts, not everybody wears hats, whether they have, hair that they want to protect, whatever it is, everybody don't wear a hat, but we all wear shirts. So I definitely would say start with shirts. Starting with pants is it's very costly, so I wouldn't start with that.
Yeah.
So many different body types and, big butt, small legs, like you just really don't know. So
it's crazy how there's money everywhere, huh?
Everywhere.
The simplest things, bro.
Yeah, and I tell people, like, dude, it's no reason why you don't have any money. Like, it's so many different things to sell. You really can sell anything. Just find a person that's looking for what you're selling. So nowadays, you really don't have even with inflation, you don't have like room to say, oh, there's no money out here. Like, it is.
And then aside from the whole real estate and franchising, is there anything else that you guys want to end up doing?
As of now, not really. I just kind of go with the flow, man. You don't really know what life will present next year. If I end up a preacher next year, like, you just
I'll
really
come,
don't
bro.
know.
I swear.
I appreciate it, man. It's good to know.
We got to get you involved in the 2025 event.
No, for sure. I like the last event. Congrats on that too, by the way.
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, congrats on that. I liked it.
Thank you. It's
How
crazy.
was it? How did it do?
It was phenomenal, man. You know what it is? And like the day before the event, it's empty, right?
Mm-hmm.
But now the venue's already set up, this and that. Mm-hmm. And I kind of and I think this is something that very few people could understand in that aspect of it. But when you build it, they will come. Like it's a true saying. People how do you know this person? How do you know that person?
Yeah.
I built something from scratch, literally from scratch, bro.
Yeah.
I used to go to different events and talk to different vendors and be like, hey, do you want to drop 20,000 and be a sponsor? They're like, oh yeah, sounds interesting, blah blah blah. How many years have you done it?
Yeah.
Oh, we're gonna do our first one in 2 months.
Yeah.
And I sold it.
That's dope,
sold the
man.
vision. I sold the exit, man. God is good on that. I'll give you that 1,000%.
Yeah.
And there's moments where there was self-doubt for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I was kind of like hesitant. And I was like, man, what am I doing? But then I was like, I wouldn't be here if God didn't want me to do this.
Exactly.
Clearly I'm doing something right.
Exactly, yeah.
But it was good, man. We had over 200 people. I think for this next one, we're going to double it. We got a mastermind in November. You're more than welcome to come too.
No, yeah, for sure. It's here?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's going to stay in Houston. We're going to keep it in Houston, perfect it.
Mm-hmm.
And once it's systematized, we'll replicate it and we'll do Dallas, Phoenix, North Carolina. All of a sudden, probably not.
No, I like that. I like that you providing something for people to be involved with. So that's good, man.
I'm trying, man. I think that's what it comes down to, right? Just being the best person you can be each day, giving your life to God. No one's perfect. I agree 100%. But building a legacy, because, I mean, you could have 100 kids, but what if one day you have all daughters, right? Technically, your bloodline's, gone, right?
You think so?
I mean, isn't the saying, like, the last name, the man, the boy carries the bloodline, right?
I never heard that. That could be,
Well,
that could be true.
No, because if you have a daughter and then she gets married, she takes the last name. So your last name
is the bloodline gone or the last name gone?
I guess in that,
she still has
in that
the blood,
aspect of it, I guess, yeah. But I guess
I get it.
For me, just looking at the family tree, like my sister got married, so now she's like
a part of another.
She's a Lopez now.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's how I guess I kind of see it. But for me, it's just I want to impact more than just myself, more than just my family.
I like that, man.
And I'm doing my best, brother. I'm doing my best.
That's all you can do.
And what do you have for anyone watching, I guess, closing statements, any final words, any encouragement?
I keep it simple, man. My encouragement is just to be you. Like a lot of people trying to be somebody they not, and they wondering why life is not working out the way that they wanted to work out. It's just because you're trying to live somebody else's dreams. You're trying to go down somebody else's path. Find your own path. Go down it. You're going to have hurdles. It may be little setbacks here and there, but just keep going. That's all you can do.
Oh, man.
Appreciate you, man.
There you go.
Yeah.
I appreciate it, guys. Thank you, guys. I'll see you guys in the next one.